Welcome to this IBML online course. This training is designed for field technicians assigned to service and maintain the ImageTrac scanners. This course is for general information only and should not be used as a guide for replacing parts or installing upgrades. Refer to the ImageTrac Series 6000 Hardware Reference Manual for more detailed information. In this course, you will learn the names and functions of the software applications and hardware components that drive the scanner, the proper procedure for preparing documents for scanning, and the location of and the procedure to correctly adjust network settings. For safety purposes during the hardware portion of this lesson, the ImageTrac has been turned off and the power has been disconnected from the outlets. All the covers have been removed so the internal components can be seen. In this section, we will identify and discuss the functions of the software applications and hardware components that drive the scanner. We will also learn the proper procedure for preparing documents for scanning. We will begin by discussing the software, which includes IBML Capture Suite, Image Server, PARM Setup, Hardware Setup, and Camera Calibration. Let's begin with IBML Capture Suite. IBML Capture Suite includes three software products: SoftTrack Scan, Post Scan, and Management Tools, and their associated applications. Capture Suite users fall into one of two groups: administrators and operators. Administrators manage users, configure hardware and software parameter files, manage scanned batches, create productivity or operations reports, and configure jobs. Job configuration can include the use of a wide variety of applications, including job setup, quality control, validation, post-scan, and more. Operators primarily use Scan Client, which is the Capture Suite application used to operate the ImageTrac and scan batches of documents. This application uniquely identifies documents and makes pocketing decisions based on the data collected. The data can include barcode data, microdata, ICR data, among other types of information. Operators are also responsible for document preparation. To properly prep a batch of documents, operators must be sure that each document is free of any objects that might cause track issues, such as staples or paper clips, tape, glue, or torn documents. It's a simple yet very important step in the process because it can eliminate issues such as double feeds, skewed documents, and unexpected documents. Next, let's discuss the Image Server. Image Server communicates with the camera boards and handles the images produced by the camera boards. Communication with all internal systems must be established before Image Server gives an indication that the ImageTrac is ready for operation. Once this ready state has been achieved, any one of the other IBML software applications can be used. Image Server is located on the bottom right corner of the task tray and identified with an icon that looks like a traffic light. This icon indicates the state of the Image Server by displaying either a red, yellow, or green light. A red light indicates an error. A yellow indicates issues that require operator attention, and a green light indicates there are no problems and normal operation can begin. You can open a display pane which will show you the camera boards loading. To do this, right-click on the traffic light. The image boards are the first and second entries under the status column. On the Image Server display pane, you will also see Type column. In this column, the image board type is represented as ZJSE. As a field technician, there may be times when you need to change the image board type after consulting with IBML customer support. In general, when scanning issues arise, it may be necessary to send log files to IBML customer support for troubleshooting. To do this, within the Scan Client application, you can click Support. Then, Get Support Data, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+Shift+D. Once you have been consulted by IBML customer support to change the image board type, to do so, open the Image Server display pane. Use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+D to activate access. Now, select one of the three buttons with ellipses on the right side of the display window. Go ahead and select one now. By doing this, you have opened the Image Settings window. Next, select the correct image board type by clicking the drop-down arrow under the board type. Select the highlighted board type. Nice job! Now, to exit Image Server, click the X in the upper right-hand corner. Now let's learn about the Capture Suite application, Parm Setup. You can access Parm Setup from the application menu of Capture Suite. However, if you were not provided with the customer's Capture Suite credentials, there is a desktop application icon available that does not require a password. Parm Setup allows you to define both hardware and software parameter files. Hardware parameter files are configured within the Hardware Setup application. These hardware parameter files contain basic system and component settings. For example, the transport, motors, sensors, and fan testing. This application is also used to modify settings and options specific to hardware components such as the feeder, the track, and the pockets. Each ImageTrac has its own unique hardware parameter file, and only one hardware parameter file can be associated with an ImageTrac. Software parameter files are used to tell the system which options are needed and how information should be gathered from those options. For example, when configuring a software parameter file, you can configure scanner settings such as SKU settings, feeder settings, document settings, and pocketing. You can also configure the hardware barcode reader, enable the micro reader, configure an inkjet printer, and define your front and rear image windows. The software parameters are contained and saved in a software parameter file. The parameter file is then attached to the job settings in Job Setup. Unlike hardware parameter files, an ImageTrac may contain multiple software parameter files depending on customer requirements for any given job. For example, a customer might run 10 jobs and have a different software parameter file configured for each one of those jobs. Now, let's discuss camera calibration. The Camera Calibration Utility Wizard allows you to adjust and fine-tune the camera settings if necessary. As a field technician, you might need to perform a white reference and/or auto-illumination camera calibration. The Camera Calibration Utility Wizard is used on multiple ImageTrac platforms, so it's important to know the type of camera installed on the machine. If you are not sure of the camera type, and before attempting to make any adjustments to the camera functions using this utility, consult with IBML Customer Support. We have identified and discussed the functions of our software. Now we will go over the hardware components that drive the scanner. In this section, we will go over the application PC server, image boards, and the real-time transport controller. Located in the base of the feeder frame, you will see the host PC server. The model of the host PC server is either a Dell T620 or Dell 9710XL. The image boards are located inside of the host PC server. As you learned earlier in the course, the image boards process the various image formats once the images are captured by the cameras. Note, the ImageTrac 6000 has one type of board available for use, which is ZJSE. Next, let's discuss the Real-Time Transport Controller, also referred to in this course as the RTC. The topic is covered in a bit more detail in another course, but it's important to understand how RTC works with the various software applications we have already discussed to control the scanner transport. The RTC is also inside the feeder frame at the beginning of the machine attached to the back of the metal frame. It uses the VxWorks operating system, which controls all timing and motor speed, as well as other track operations. The RTC assigns the document ID of every scanned document and tracks document movement down the track until pocketed. The RTC communicates with the ImageTrac using a combination of Category 5 networking cables, one Category 5 crossover cable, and an IBML-designed interface board. Each module has an interface card with an upstream and a downstream connector. This is where the cables connect. The crossover cable connects between the host PC and RTC. We have now identified and discussed the functions of hardware and software. In this section, we will discuss the proper procedure for adjusting network settings. In this section, we will discuss the firewall, network duplex speed, IP address, and subnet mask. It's important to note, if these adjustments are not set correctly, communication issues can arise. Let's begin with the firewall. At times, the Windows firewall on the host PC server can cause communication issues. When you are experiencing issues related to the firewall, it is recommended to turn it off and leave it off while you're working on the site. However, do not make any changes to the settings of the firewall. The customer's IT staff must determine what firewall settings are best for their site, and IBML is not authorized to make any changes. To turn the firewall off, locate and open the Network Sharing Center. On the bottom right-hand side of the dialog, click Windows Firewall. Then select Turn Windows Firewall On or Off. Under the Network Location settings, select to turn the firewall off. Next, we will discuss the network duplex speed. The network connection speed for the ImageTrac 6000 should always be set to auto-negotiate. To verify the correct speed, follow these steps. Locate and open the Network Sharing Center. Select the VxWorks connection, which is a link located in the center of the Network Sharing Center. This will open the General tab. From here, select the Properties tab. In the Properties tab, select Configure. On a Windows 10 machine, in the Link Speed tab, under Properties, select Speed and Duplex. Please note, if you are on a Windows 8.1 machine, you will find this setting under the Advanced tab. On the Under Speed and Duplex, you can verify the speed setting. Contact IBML customer support before making any changes to the speed. Now, let's look at the IP address and the subnet mask. We will move back to the VxWorks connection to open the General tab. In this tab, select the Properties tab. Now, highlight and click Internet Protocol version 4, and now select Properties. The IP address is displayed in this window and should be addressed as 192.0.2.127. The subnet mask is located just below the IP address and should be addressed as 255.255.255.0. Note that the default gateway should either be empty or read 0. Be sure to contact IBML customer support before making any changes to either the IP address or the subnet mask. This concludes the course. By now, you should be able to name and briefly explain the software applications and hardware components that drive the scanner, and feel comfortable locating network settings. You should also know the correct procedure for prepping documents before sending them down the track. It's time to test your knowledge. The next portion of the training consists of a 10-question quiz. When you're ready to begin the quiz, click Continue.